our box is gaining the shape, and that's what we want. So now we will cover the whole entire base with the corner strips, just like that. And we will cover these 3 sides. We will leave the angles alone for now. All right? Okay, so as you can see, I wrapped the entire bottom all the way around. So now what we have left is the top, the sides, and the front. So to wrap those parts, we will need the pieces that we scored. As you can see, this is what we're gonna do, just like that. So when you position this, mark where you want to cut this, and you can cut it a little bit longer than what you need. See, you're almost creating that V shape, and this is how we're gonna need to cut it. I would prefer for you to cut it a little bit longer than too short, because you can always trim it, but you cannot take it back. So I will cut that V shape right here and right across, so we can remove that piece, and let's try it. So as you can see, I have little bits sticking out in here, and the top looks good, but look how beautiful your front looks like. So I am gonna trim this side just a tiny bit, and I will try it again, and it almost seems that this is perfect. So now I will apply the glue and glue it. Okay, we will position that all the way to the bottom, just like that. And look what a beautiful finish you have. So we will do the same thing on the opposite side. Okay, and now I will make a little mark where I want this cut to go, like this, and I will cut it again. And across, and we will try. So now I can see that I am still a little bit high on this side. My angle is a little bit off. So I am going to trim it a little bit and a little bit more. Now that doesn't have to be cut perfect. Where you need to pay attention is really this bottom, so it's nicely wrapped. Other than that, and the top portion, because that's where the corner is, so this has to be done really nicely, but those sides, it doesn't really matter. So now I'm pretty happy with the way I set this up. So I am just gonna apply the glue and glue this whole piece. So when I'm gluing this, I'm pushing this towards the bottom because I want this nice finished. And now let's just push it to make sure that everything adheres. All right. Okay. I'm saving those small pieces because we might use them. So as you can see, we are getting there. So now we need to do the front. The front, I used a little bit thinner. So remember I told you we gotta put these on the side. So I am gonna measure from one side to another. And this is about 4.5 inches. So I will cut this to 4.5. Now again, you don't want to cut this too short. It's better to cut this a little bit longer and trim it later on. And as you can see, this one, it's gonna fit perfect. So I am just gonna glue it just like that. Okay. And let's make sure that this is stuck. All right. So now we have the top part left. Okay, so we have most of it done. What we need to do is cover the corners over here on the inside and cover the top. So for the inside, we still have left some of these corner pieces. Okay, so to measure this piece, I'm going to put it all the way to the bottom of that container, and I will mark right here on both sides to see where I need to cut. And we need to do the same thing to the opposite corner, and we will make the mark. So let's cut this. Okay. We will, of course, try it. And it is perfect. So now we will apply the glue on both sides. And we will place it right here in a corner, smoothing that out and pushing all the way to the corner to make sure that everything adheres well. And we will do the same thing on this side. So from the inside, I'm just basically squishing this to make sure that everything adheres. And as you can see, this one is done. And now we need to do this one the same way. And let's just apply the glue on both sides. And we will apply it right here. So I will do the same thing. I will make sure that it's all the way to the corner of this piece. And we will just squish it just to make sure everything adheres. Turn around and you can't see it, but I'm squishing right here. Okay, all of it is glued, so the inside is finished. Now, in here, if you see, if we wrap it just like that, we have this corner visible. So I will cut it longer, way longer, somewhere in here, because we will wrap that corner. So now, if I position, and you can turn it to the other side, if I position it just like that, you can see that the end will be right here. So I will mark this, and from that point, we just need to cut right on that score, straight line to the bottom, just like that. This is what you're gonna end up with. So let's just pre-measure. This will be the end, and here is the cut, and I need to cut it just a smidge longer on both sides, and then I need to cut out, I think I need to cut out those two flaps, but let's see. So if I place it in here, just like that, okay, I can probably bend this and glue it this way. This one will go down, and this one will wrap the corner, just like this. So let's apply glue to that small piece, this piece, and we will glue this entire top. So I'm not placing any glue onto this flap. So when I put this down, I'm matching up this corner right here. I'm pushing it down. Now this flap goes to the bottom, and this one goes right over the top. And we have this really nice corner. Now this flap that we didn't put any glue on, I'm gonna put glue on right now. And this, we will glue it to this side, just like that. So you can see that we have really beautiful corners all around, everything wrapped up. And we will do the same thing to this side. So let's take the piece, and you can see it, we need to extend this. So when I'm looking in here, I'm gonna cut it somewhere right here. I prefer to cut this piece too long rather than too short, because if we cut it too short, then there is really not much we can do about it. And I keep on talking, and I think I lost my measurement. So I think it's somewhere here. So now you can see that we need to trim this. I will fold it over, align it with the front, and I will make the mark right here. That's where I need to cut it. So I will cut the long way, just like this, like we did the previous one, and we will measure it. So when I'm putting this down, you can see that I need to cut a little bit more, because this corner is really not wrapping around nicely. So just the smidge longer, and the same on the opposite side. So let's try it again. Perfect. Nothing is folding over. So this one will go down, and this one we will wrap around just like that. So when we remove it, this is where we are putting glue. On this one, this little flap over here, and all around. So now we're gonna wrap it. I'm paying attention to this corner. I want to make sure that it looks perfect. I'm gonna wrap this down just like that and wrap this one around it. See, we have beautiful corners on all sides. So now on this flap right here, we will place the glue just like that. And now we are folding this over, and you might want to squish it in here on the corner just to make sure that this is wrapped really nicely. So I think that this end result is absolutely beautiful. The only thing we have to do is the back. So we have another piece, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna position it, and I'm trying to show you. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see it. And I'm gonna make a little mark right here. So this is where I need to cut this. And the same thing as before, I prefer to cut it a little bit longer and trim it later on than cut it too short, because then I have to redo the process all over again. So let's see, and this is a little bit too long. You can see it right here. So I will just trim just like that, and let's try it, and this one will fit perfect. So let's put the glue on the inside just like that, including that part that we scored. We want to make sure that this will get glued. So now we position this on the top and squish it all around, including this top. We want to make sure that everything is glued just like that, and we will do the same thing on the back. Just run it to make sure everything is glued, and all our outside is done. So now we have to decorate on the outside, on the inside, the front, bottom, and the back. So to do that, we will use design paper. I can throw all these little bits and pieces out. So let me get the design paper and I will be right back. Okay, so I chose some paper from the collection, and at this point I can tell you that I got 2 sheets of this, and this is almost like a book backs. So I got 2 of these, and I think I'm going to use this for outside. I got books like these, and I think I'm going to use that on the inside. And I chose few different colors. So I got 2 sheets of this, 1 sheet, and 2 sheets of that. So I'm not sure which ones I will use for the inside, but I don't want to make this too busy. And then I have 1 sheet with embellishments, and I'm planning to use something from here for this front. So let's start decorating. Let's start decorating on the outside. So remember at the beginning of the show, right when we started working on this project, we made this form. We will cut this form out. And that form was made based on the sides we cut it. So this form should fit right here, but it won't, because it will fit on the outside with exception of this bottom portion, because this panel sits on the top of the base. So this is the reason why it's not going to be exact size, but we can use this as a template. So I'm going to take the paper that I do want to use, and I will turn it around because I do want to make the template, or at least not the template, but I will draw it on the back, the dimensions of the template. Now, I mentioned to you that if we apply this template right here, it will not be exact. The top will match, the sides will match, but the bottom won't. You see, you have a space in here. So what we're gonna do, we will adjust the size of the template we are cutting. What I mean is that by the top, we will cut about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the line we drew. We will do the same thing for this angle, and we will do the same thing for that piece on the side. Okay, so now it's more fitting than it was before, but it will not fit that well yet, because we trimmed this side, and this side, but we have done nothing about the back. And that we will also need to trim approximately 1/8 of an inch. So that will give you this really nice border. See, now when we position, we have this nice black border all around. So we will just glue this. And now when we glue it, I position approximately 1/8 of an inch right here by the corner. And we will squish this. And as you can see it, this is a really nice and sturdy piece. I'm actually pushing down the spatula and nothing moves, because it is really nice heavy piece. So now we're gonna have to work on the opposite side, on this side. Now for this side, be careful how you position your template, because now we will be gluing this way, which means we need to put the template first and then the paper. This is the easiest way to do it. And then when you turn this around, you know exactly how to position it. And I'm going over this with you because guess what? I have done this before, where I used the template, I cut it, and then when I turn around the paper, it was upside down and it did not fit the side. So I have done it, and this is the reason why I'm mentioning to you to pay attention to that. So we're gonna do the same thing in here. We're gonna cut approximately 1/8 inch away, or smaller piece than our markings. Okay? And we're gonna do the same thing on this side. All right? And we have our template. So now when I turn around, I can see it, it fits beautifully. The only thing we didn't do, we did not trim this side. And we will also trim it approximately 1/8 of an inch. So now when we position this, you can see that it's just about perfect fit. If I would try to put this on the inside, I can't because of the outside panel. On the inside is actually smaller because this piece is butting against the sides, and the same thing with the front. That's why the inside will be even smaller. But this piece is ready. See, we can glue it just like that. Okay. We will position this approximately 1/4 inch from the bottom, from the side, just like that, and you have this beautiful border. Now I believe that this piece is gonna come out so nice that if you show this piece to anyone, they would think that you actually bought it. See, the presentation is beautiful. So I do have some of this paper left that I would like to use it on the back, but I can't. You can see it. That is just too small. That's okay. But I will use this right here on the front. So for the front, we need to cut piece. From side to side, it measures 5 1/8. So I will cut it to 4 3/4. This way is 2 3/4. So I will cut to 2 1/2 by 4 3/4. So I think I can use this strip. So let me cut it this way, 4 3/4. And I believe we said 2 1/2. Yes, 2 1/2. Okay. Okay. So we will position this just like that on the middle of that panel. Let's squish it. Okay. And since we are working on that, I will select maybe this one and just put it on the middle, something small that I can maybe hand write it. So let me just cut this apart. And this is really awkward. I can't cut this on a trimmer, but that's okay. Okay, that's 1, 2. Because you see, if I would cut it on a trimmer, I would go through this design, and that's not what I wanted to do. And I do want to cut out only this little piece. And I will position this just like that. Okay. And we'll position this on the middle. Okay. So the front is done. Now I will do the back. So the back measures 5 1/4, so I will cut to 5 by 9 1/4, so cut to 9. 5 by 9. So I think I'm going to use this one. I have only one sheet. So 5 inches by 9. You know, at the same time, maybe we cut the bottom, which also will be 5 by 7 3/4. So let's do 5 and 7 3/4. So now I will start with the bottom, just like that. Okay. Again, the same thing, approximately 1/4 inch space all around. Let's push that glue. And now we got the back left. Same thing, position right on the middle. Okay, nice and straight. So let's push it. So there's no air underneath that paper. And the glue is nicely spread. And as you can see, this is getting to be beautiful box all around. So now we have to work on the inside. So for the inside, I will use this paper for the sides and then solid one for the bottom and the back. So now with this one, we are also going back to our template. So the first one, we don't have to pay attention to direction. I will just mark it up, just like that. And now, if we cut exactly the same way, it will not fit. We are about half an inch. We have about half an inch difference on this side, the straight side. So we will cut according to our drawing, and you can see that I'm cutting just about exactly the way the drawing is, because I prefer to cut this piece too big than too small. I don't want to lose this paper. And now we said that on this side we need approximately half an inch smaller. So I will cut this down to about half an inch and we will try it. Okay. As you can see, I can fit this almost perfectly to the bottom, and this is how I'm gonna keep it. But the top is a little bit too high, so I will trim about 1/4 inch. And I will try it. And I am pretty happy with the result. So now, because we have this pre-cut to size, we're gonna use this as a template to make the piece for the opposite side. Again, be careful to how you're gonna position the paper. So we know that the design has to be on the outside. So this is how I'm gonna position this paper to the outside. I will pick this one up and put it on the top just like that. So of course it would be very difficult for me to mark this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just take this paper and slide it underneath, turn it around, and now I'm gonna use this as a form to cut the other side. Okay, so now you can see that they are two opposites, and that's what you really want. So we will cut this out. So now I'm following the lines exactly as they are. And that should give me perfect piece for the opposite side. And let's try it. It looks absolutely beautiful. It fits perfect on both sides. So now we're just gonna glue this. Okay. So now I'm just gonna slide this all the way down, just like that. And now I will squish it from inside, just to remove any air that is right there, and to make sure that that glue is distributed all around evenly. And you can see this side is done, and look how gorgeous this looks. So now I will take the other piece and we will do the same thing. We're gonna glue to the opposite side. Okay, I will just drop it to the bottom and lay it flat. Let's distribute this glue, get rid of some air pockets. And look at this. It looks gorgeous. I think it's gorgeous. So now we have to do only the bottom and the back. So as I mentioned to you, I want to stay with the darker design. So I will use this paper. But before we cut it, we really need to measure it. What do we need? So what we measure is right here, this opening. So the opening is 4 3/8. So I will cut this to 4 1/8. The depth is approximately 7 3/8. I will cut this to 7 1/8. 7 1/8 by 4 1/8. Okay, 4 1/8 by 7 1/8. Before we actually glue it, I will test it, of course. And you see, it fits perfectly. So since we have our cutting board out, we're gonna measure this side, which it seems like 4 1/2, 4 1/2. So I'm gonna cut this one. I'm gonna cut the back to 4 1/4, and the length is gonna be 8 3/4. So 4 1/4 by 8 3/4. We will test it, and I think it's gonna be just perfect. So I will start gluing the bottom first. Now, if you like this project, if you enjoy this video, please hit like, share, comment, and subscribe. all of this really helped my channel. And I know that many of you have been very, very good to me. And I can't tell you enough how much I really appreciate. So thank you so much for subscribing, for watching my video. I really appreciate all of your support. Okay, so as you can see, the bottom piece is glued. Now we're gonna glue the back. For the back, I'm just gonna put it upside down. Okay, and I will just slide this in. And of course, on the top, I want about 1/8 of an inch right here, the trim. And I'm squishing on the inside, getting rid of those air bubbles, making this really nice and smooth. Okay. And this way. All right. And this is the project. So I hope you like it. This is, believe me when I tell you, when you hold this, this is really nice and sturdy. And now I can take all my books and put them right here. And you can see how much more room I have. So if I want to put something bigger, I actually can. So the dimension is about 7.5 inches on the inside. So you won't be able to fit standard size notebook, but this is not what I wanted. I wanted for any notebook that I have or I'm using, especially from Dollar Tree store. This is where I usually shop for all my notebooks. So as you can see, it's a beautiful presentation. I am actually very, very happy with this design, the look of it, and I hope your thoughts are the same. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for keeping me company, and I hope to see you soon in my next video.